Hi guys, welcome to my channel, The Legal Affair, with myself, Attorney Bay. As always, we talk all things law, and our conversation today is on office gossip and the legal consequences to office gossip. Please, of course, do remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, The Legal Affair. You can also follow us on social media, The Legal Affair. You can also follow me on TikTok and Twitter at attorney_bay. That's at attorney_bay. So, from an employer or an employee's perspective, I don't think that there is much you can actually do to prevent office gossip. I think that where there are people, there is definitely a likelihood that there will be office gossip. But I do think it's very important that you're actually mindful that could be legal consequences to office gossip, depending on the context. Of course, you could, for instance, find yourself being dismissed for office gossip. You could find yourself in a disciplinary hearing for office gossip. You could find yourself, for instance, being sued for defamation for office gossip. You could find yourself having a criminal case opened against you for harassment that stems from office gossip. And there are a host of other consequences that could, of course, arise because of office gossip. And I think it's very important that you are mindful of that. In the South African context, we've had quite a lot of legal developments when it comes to the employment space. We've had various legal developments relating to office gossip. We've had various legal developments relating to the rights of employees and the obligations that employers have in the workspace. We've had various legal developments when it comes to social media and employees. We do also know, for instance, when it comes specifically to social media, that if your workspace has a workplace policy that you are required to follow, should you have a grievance or a complaint, and not follow that grievance or complaint process and instead vent or post on social media, your employer could actually dismiss you. So, in an instance where you are expressly required, for instance, by a workplace policy to actually follow internal procedures or protocol, and you opt not to do so, but you opt to vent on social media, it is permissible, of course, and it is legal for your employee to dismiss you from your work environment. We do also know, for instance, quite a number of cases, we've seen employees being dismissed for what they post on social media. Um, it is important in their work environments. I think that employers actually have workplace policy. It's important to have policies, for instance, that relates to harassment. Tell your employees what is harassment. What is sexual harassment. What should you do? Should you be harassed and so forth? I think it's also important to have a policy on social media. Other limitations when it comes to social media and the work environment. Does your employer prevent you, for instance, from using your work laptop rather for personal issues? Or are you prevented from using your work laptop for social media purposes? So I think it's quite important that employers put workplace policies. There are quite a host of policies that you could put in place, and I think it's important to bring it to an employee's attention that this is the policy that we have in place. You should be provided a copy of that particular policy. You should have someone go through the policy with you so you understand what that particular policy deals with and the consequences of not complying with that particular policy. Of course, when it comes to the employment space, your employer and employee relationship is regulated by your employment agreement, and it is quite important, I think, when it comes to the work environment, that as an employee, you go through your employment agreement, you understand the parameters that you have as an employee, you understand what your obligations are, you understand what a grievance procedure is, you understand how to lay complaints in the work environment. And of course, from an employer's perspective, I think it is important that prior to your employees actually signing employment agreements, you take your employees through the various through their employment agreements. Talk about conversations like harassment, have conversations about social media, have conversations about office gossip, so that each party is aware of what is expected of them and that they ensure that they are fully compliant. And should the need arise, of course, that you amend your employment agreement to do so. You can always amend an employment agreement. You add an annex to an addendum to your employment agreement, and you revise the terms and conditions of employment agreement. But when it comes to office gossip, I think the gist of the conversation really today is that you understand that there are legal consequences to office gossip, and you certainly can be dismissed for office gossip in the working office gossip